Minister, as you are aware, a new Garda operating model was introduced in early 2019 on a pilot basis in a number of Garda divisions throughout the country. That model proposes to reduce the Garda divisions from 28 to 19. I believe it will not be a suitable configuration for the border region. If you take Cavan, Monaghan and Louth, it's proposed that they would be amalgamated into one Garda division with the Chief Superintendent based in Drogheda. It's a long way from Drogheda to Blacklion or Dowra in West Cavan, literally from the east coast to the west coast. Minister, I would like your views in relation to this proposed model and reconfiguration.
Well, thank Deputy Smith for the question, and he and I and the Government is absolutely committed to working to make sure we build strong, safe communities, that we support the Gardaí, that we resource them properly, and everyone, no matter where in the country they live, deserves to be safe and to feel safe, and this is central to all that we do in relation to our community safety policy. As Deputy Smith will be aware, the Garda Commissioner is of course responsible for the management and administration of Garda business, and he determines the distribution of Gardaí throughout the country, and I don't have a role in relation to those matters. However, the Commission on the Future of Policing in Ireland recognise that community safety is not solely the responsibility of the Gardaí or the Department of Justice alone, rather it's a whole of government responsibility. The Deputy may be aware that a number of actions are in progress under a policing service for our future, which is our implementation plan. The Garda Commissioner is currently rolling out the new Garda operating model, which seeks to release frontline Gardaí from roles that can effectively be carried out by civilian Garda staff, thereby developing a stronger focus on community policing and being able to provide a wide range of policing services locally. The purpose of the new operating model is to increase Garda visibility, community engagement and the deployment of specialist services throughout the country so that specialist services aren't too far from any one region or any one community. This, coupled with some realignment of responsibilities, will help to deliver a community-focused policing service. I think we all agree that community policing has been at the heart of all that the Gardaí have done since its foundation over 100 years ago, and I can assure you that we're committed to maintaining that tradition so that all communities, including border communities, feel safe and are safe. In relation to the border counties, including Deputy Smith's own constituency of Cavan, Monaghan, the completion of a new station for Ballyborough this year will support the wider delivery of policing services, while the Cavan Arms Support Unit Centre was opened on the 16th of October 2021 to enhance policing and security service in the area. I'm also advised that there's ongoing close cooperation between An Garda Síochána and their colleagues in the Police Service of Northern Ireland to tackle cross-border criminality, including through the mechanism of the Joint Agency Task Force. So I'll continue to engage and work with Deputy Smith, and I'll certainly feed back his views in relation to the new structures to the Garda Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Minister, for your reply. Minister, as a public representative during very bad years in this country during the era known as the Troubles, I was very conscious of the great work of our emergency services in the border region, including An Garda Síochána, during the most difficult of times. You referred earlier, Minister, to the threat from some dissidents. That's still around. There are unique policing demands in a border region. We have a long land border with Northern Ireland. The model proposed by the Commissioner Minister will have Donegal, Sligo, Leitrim one division, a reduction in superintendents, operating superintendents who are out there in uniform meeting the people. It's the same in Cavan, Monaghan, Louth. I believe that the structure was there. Despite its failings, like every other public service, it did a damn good job for our country during the most difficult of years. And I think that infrastructure, that configuration that's there at the minute, with additional resources, and there are always additional resources needed, that is the best way to ensure that our border communities are safe. Minister, alongside losing superintendents, we have also lost, as a result of Commissioner Harris's decision, an assistant commissioner in Sligo for the border region. So we're losing key people, and I believe it should be a halt should be put to it. Thank you, Askin Corlo.
I very much respect Deputy Smith and his strong views, and indeed his significant experience in this House and in the border region. So I take seriously what he says. He will know that I respectfully have to obviously say that the deployment of guards and management structures is a matter, as it should be, for the Garda Commissioner. But what we can do as a government is make sure that we increase the size of the guards, increase the resources available to the Commissioner, have more men and women in An Garda Síochána, have more vehicles, have better Garda stations like we have in Ballyborough, provide body cams, provide equipment, resources, more people to help them. I do think, though, there are two benefits, being quite frank, that I just would feed back respectfully to border communities from the new model. I think the first is that at its heart is about actually freeing up Gardaí to be out on the front line. So at its heart is actually trying to move away from just looking at kind of it from an office point of view into how do we actually get more Gardaí onto the front line. And secondly, I think it's the fact that the specialist units not being just based in the big cities or the populous parts of this country, but actually in the regions as well. But I'll feed back your views to the Garda Commissioner.
Thank you, Minister. And you mentioned earlier about the additional civilian staff. We appreciate that. But my understanding is that actually some of the operating chief superintendents and superintendents who are actually out there in uniform meeting the people, that they will be going to back office jobs. I think we need more engagement. And Minister, over the years in my 2 counties that I've had the privilege of representing, I always saw the best policing model was when the public at large knew who the chief superintendent was, the superintendent, the inspectors and the Gardaí. That engagement with the people is critical, and it instills confidence in communities and in individuals as well. Minister, you mentioned the Welcome Development Available, and I appreciate your support in advancing that project. Minister Flanagan very helpfully, in response to ongoing representation that I made regarding the reopening of Bombay Garda station in my own home village some years ago. That has not been progressed in Garda Síochána, so I'd like if you could pursue that particular issue as well. But Minister, I understand that this operating model has been postponed indefinitely. It does not meet with the support of AGSI, indeed superintendents have commented with the lack of resources as well. It is postponed indefinitely. I'd love to see it abandoned, and I'm talking about the border region in particular. I think the existing structure and enhanced by resources would be the best model. Thank you, Laskin Corla.
Before the Minister comes in, Dr. Dodd, do you want to come in briefly?
Very quickly, I would like to acknowledge the effort and the work that the Gardaí are doing in Drogheda and County Louth, the additional Gardaí in the county. We've over 70 new Gardaí in the whole county. In my own town of Drogheda, we've 16 new community Gardaí. Whatever about the Chief Superintendent, I've no issue with Deputy Smith on that. It's the community guard as the person that's needed, the man on the ground, the man with the knowledge, the man in the place, the man you can contact, the man who turns up. That's what we need, and we're getting that in County Louth, and I welcome that. Thank you.
Minister to conclude.
Well, thanks Deputy O'Dowd, and I'm pleased to hear of the increase in Garda numbers, and as we continue to see more men and women enter Temple more and more Gardaí come out, I can assure you the direction of travel will be upward in terms of Garda resources, and with a focus on community Gardaí, absolutely, because at the core of all that the Guards do and have done so well, you know, policing by consent, policing in communities, and it's been an incredible success over 100 years. To Deputy Smith, I'll certainly follow up on that individual issue that you raised and get you an update as you asked me to. Look, at its core, and I've engaged with AGSI, I've engaged with the Chief Superintendent Association, I've engaged with the Superintendent Association, I've engaged with the GRA. I obviously am in regular contact with the Garda Commissioner, the Department of Justice. We have our policing legislation coming through this House at the moment, and opportunities to tease through all of these issues. But I genuinely believe from all of those conversations, and people do have different views, but what unites them all is whatever model, and the operating model is the model, it is dependent on resources. It is dependent on making sure that there are enough men and women in Garda Síochána to roll it out and roll it out successfully. And I believe as we grow resources, a lot of those concerns can be addressed, but we will continue to engage and engage intensively.